and Fittipaldi, Enzo Fittipaldi, a famous name, and yes, the grandson of the great Emerson.
Potentially the fastest name in motorsport.
Yeah, well, after Andretti, yeah. There's an argument there. But here we go, folks. Welcome around the world to the famous Macau Grand Prix. Jonathan Green and Alan Hyde bringing you all the action from the first qualification race. And as they head down the famous boulevard that is the run to Lisboa, conditions partly cloudy but nice and cool. It's a morning temperature. This is probably the coolest they've run in.
Yeah, the air temperature 25, the track temperature 27. Yesterday, track temperature was 37. So, yeah, significantly cooler.
Very, very important time. They've all done a full season around the world in FIA, F3, and for those of you who don't know, GP3 became F3 this year. 10 teams were picked, and bar a few outsiders, and I say outsiders, but a few coming back from F2 and people like Arjun Maini, it pretty much is the FIA F3 field. So they all know each other's style, they all know each other's ability, and they're all very fast, and more importantly, as part of the Formula One package now, they are all gunning for super license points and to be noticed. That is why we have Renault Juniors, Red Bull Juniors, a Ferrari Academy drivers here. These guys are the chosen few, but which is the best of them? That's the question. So why not throw the hardest track in the world at them and see who comes out on top? It's a brilliant idea, but it's one that's come to fruition since the 80s.
It's the race that everyone wants to win tomorrow afternoon here at Macau, and this is the pathway to do so, a qualification race.
And those that have won here have either gone on to Formula One or at least have gone on to become professional drivers. This is the very, very creme de la creme of single-seater racers. And so many racing drivers I meet around the world, not just in Formula One, but in sports cars and in endurance racing and some single-seaters, talk with such heartwarming stories of their experience of Macau, because it is that time. Many of them 17, 18 and 19. It's a very impressionable age, but also it's a pressure cooker, because this is where they are judged. This is where Formula One looks to its talent for the future. Max Verstappen came here. He'd already got his Formula One contract, and I remember Jenson Button was similar. And so many of the greats have been here. Coulthard won here, Schumacher won here. Both Schumachers, Ralph and Michael, I should say, have won here. And more recently, Sete Camara, Felix Rosenquist, now an IndyCar star. And more recently, Dan Ticktum, who races here today and goes for what has never been done before, which is to win Macau 3 times in a row. It's going to be a very, very tough job when you look at the field in front. Yuri Vips on the left-hand side, the current European champion, FIA F3 champion, Schwartzman alongside. The long run with these faster cars, with DRS, we'll get into that later. But this is a real vaunt into the unknown. We've not raced these cars ever at Macau. There will be a little holding of breath to see how this all goes. But we are looking forward. I just got the thumbs up from the Portuguese commentators and the Chinese commentators. We're all in the same boat. Up go the Reds. They hold them, and out go the lights, and away we go. Yuri Vips has got a flying start. Superb start by the Estonian. Just what he wanted. And the Red Bull Junior is off to the races. Everybody jostling for position. Good start, good clean start. A 10-lap race this. Dust flies up as they go offline. Into Mandarin for the first time, the first test. Wow, they made it all through. Now down to Lisboa, the second test. And Vips still holding them off. But Schwartzman's right there with him. Into the famous Lisboa, a little bit of jostling for position. One of the cars has come round, and one of the Well, we've had another complete stop now. Half the field involved. Some will get through, some won't. But it was definitely one of the Carlin cars involved. But it was one of the Yensa cars that caused the immediate incident to start that. Out comes the safety car. Or at least we'll have probably. And they're trying to get going, but the rest of the field have managed to scuttle through. And, well, Alan, I've said it before. Just because you don't qualify well does not mean you're not in contention. And now, several of the backmarkers that got through, squeezed through that incident, will now be in contention.
And just because of a little brush of the barrier on the outside of the exit at Lisboa, just a little mistake. You cannot afford to make this.
Oh, that's Argentine. I can see the JK colours. Yeah,
I did rather wonder if it would be. So Argentine has had such a good weekend so far. The tiniest of mistakes. Can we talk about Yuri Vips off the line as well? That was absolutely perfect, wasn't it? Absolutely beautiful.
Yep, beautiful. Don't see anything wrong with that.
Schwartzman not allowing him to get away. Lundgaard also not allowing them to get away. And how very disappointing for Argentine, who gets out of the cockpit.
Look, they've all got going again. So actually, you know, there was one of the Buzz Carlin boys who got, oh, that's the 16. That's also another car out. That's Jake Hughes. Another one of the favourites. So he hasn't fared well. There's also one of the Campos cars parked up that isn't going, and he's got damage. Is that Enim Ahmed?
Is the car damaged, or?
I think so.
Is it stalled?
But certainly I saw one of the Carlin boys get thrown up onto, that is number 32, Enim Ahmed, yeah. So the Brit goes out, and let's hope they can get him going, because if they can, the damage looks, no, he's taking the steering wheel, it's off.
Oh, dear.
So, two very fast men with lots of experience here at Macau. And look at the fluid here on Lisboa. That's not good. They'll get it cleared up. But
a bit of work needs to be done down there,
work to be done. So let's just take our breath and also watch and wonder at how quickly they clear this up. So here's another look at it. And as we head down to it, keep an eye on the Yensa, all blue, in about 5th, 6th place now. As he turns in, he's on the outside now. There he is. He just gets a clip there from the Carlin car. That throws him into the wall, and then as you can see, that's the car I'm talking about that got lifted. And that was another one of the Carlin cars. And I'm wondering whether that contact was with who would about been, might have been Tictum. So let's see what we've got in store. Vips leads, as you can see. I think that's Tictum, you know.
Well, one of the vital things for Tictum was to make up as many places as was physically possible as early as possible, having started from the 7th row of the grid. Absolutely vital to get the perfect start and to be in the leading bunch early on in the race.
One thing I can tell you, Christian Lundgaard is up to 3rd, Callum Eilert is up to 4th. So it's Vips, Schwartzman, Lundgaard, Eilert, Verschoor. Sargent is up there. Here's another look at the start. It was a brilliant start by Yuri Vips. And it's so hard at Macau because you're also a sitting duck as the poleman here because of this long run. I hadn't really mentioned that. But look, he's swerving from side to side just to stay out of trouble because everybody else is you know, you're almost, you can't, it's a really hard thing from pole to stay ahead.
The fascinating thing was that Schwartzman was absolutely his shadow. He followed every move, didn't he?
Yeah, and Lundgaard almost got past Schwartzman, then goes to the outside. Again, look for the blue car just behind. That is Argentine, and now watch for the car touching him here. It is Tictum.
And the inevitable narrowing of the circuit after that one little mistake on the barrier on the outside of Lisboa, one of the iconic corners at the gear circuit at Macau. And that sees Dan Tictum down in the garage.
Yep.
So the car in for repairs, not for the first time this weekend. Repairs finished in time to get the car out in qualifying, but not able to take part in the first part of qualifying. So it's already quite an uphill battle this weekend for the defending champion. Dan Tictum down in the garage.
to be fair, he's had 2 fairy tale runs here at the Macau Grand Prix. Last year, he wasn't topped in any of the sessions.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And went on to win both races. Unbelievable.
And also, after winning the previous year, he had something to prove as well, because it was almost an inherited win the previous year, and he had to prove that it was in his own right.
Poor old
Jake Hughes, I know.
And of course, it's HWA's first running here. Yeah, that's a shame, a real shame, because he was their top guy. And
he's been so impressive this weekend.
Now, just to be clear, so you understand, this is a qualification race, folks. So they'll be in the Grand Prix tomorrow. But obviously, they will be right at the back. That means Arjun Maini, Ahmed, and not losing too much time now at the moment. But he's going to have to get a run on quickly, otherwise he's going to be a lap down. So the track being cleared now.
I'm just looking down the timing screen here. Enzo Fittipaldi is
he's up to 15th
place.
And David Schumacher's in the top 10 behind fellow German David Beckmann, who actually has had a pretty raw deal this weekend. He had a crash. He came in as one of the favourites, no question about it. Also, a man you should keep an eye on is Habsburg. He's up to 7th. And Richard Bashaw, the rookie.
I need to talk about Enzo Fittipaldi again, because I just need to say he was 30th on the grid. He was on the very back of the grid.
But that's Macau.
He's made up half of the field in the opening lap.
Not by doing anything special, mind, but
he has done something special. He stayed out of trouble.
There you go. Here's another look at the start. And Alan, I'm going to let you take this. What do you see that I perhaps didn't?
The one thing that I saw was how Schwartzman was shadowing Yuri Vips. He realised that Yuri Vips got a really good start. Look, he's in his wheel tracks every way. And then all of a sudden, he has to defend as well as attack. So he was having a look to see if he could give Yuri Vips a moment.
And now watch Lundgaard in 3rd place.
Who is in turn shadowing Schwartzman.
Yeah. And Schwartzman had to defend and attack at the same time. Lundgaard slotting into spot there. Now watch up the inside. See, Ticktum had made a really good move up the inside there before he took that touch there. And it's interesting that he's in because... so maybe, I'm just thinking this through now, I'm certainly getting some direction that might be the second of the Carlins that... went through, and the first Carlin that went up the inside. Let's have a look. Who would it be? Here's a look from Schwartzman, and this will be a good illustration.
We've had some fascinating onboard shots from Schwartzman so far this weekend.
Slots right into the wheel tracks of Yuri Vips, gets right behind him. Vips, as you can see, is trying to sort of swerve a little bit. Here we go, into Mandarin. We're still looking on Schwartzman. He's got Lundgaard. Now, Lundgaard jinks to the inside. Defensive driving from Schwartzman. Then decides to go to the outside. Now, watch the man coming through on the inside. Is that Logan Sargent coming here, right here, on the inside? Don't really see it on that, but I think it may be Logan Sargent that effectively took a nice overtake, which then pushed Arjun Maini. Not on purpose, mind you. There was no... anything untoward, but Ticktum got involved in it, and that's why I think it was Ticktum that went up in the air, as I noticed, as I said, one of the Carlin cars, and it was, I think, Ticktum, and it was Logan Sargent who effectively caused, with Arjun Maini, the first incident. Here's another look at it. Cheeking out is 21, that's Richard Bashaw. Now, look at the inside line now, in about 8th place now, and look to, you see a distinct move down the inside of Lisboa by one of the Carlins. And here it comes now, and I think, here he is, gets 1 place, 2, and then just has a slight touch, and that's Logan Sargent. There goes Ticktum up in the air. Yeah, Ticktum up in the air, and it's Sargent and Ticktum. So there you go. Flyer! The Estonian holding the lead throughout. He had to defend, though, from Schwartzman early on, and Lundgaard all over the back of Schwartzman. Then the first incident, Sargent just tapping Arjun Maini rather innocently. Ticktum thrown in the air, and damage to his car, and the same for Jake Hughes, you just saw. And Hughes went out, Ticktum went out, and you see it again there, Ticktum up in the air, and that's what broke his suspension. You can see he did limp back to the pits. Meanwhile, at the front,
around the gear circuit, and once again, the Peugeot RCZ, which I think is a great-looking road car, makes a superb-looking race car, and also a nimble one that works well around gear.
Yeah. Oh, big one.
So 2 minis off, and one of them is Chelio Alves Diaz. That's the number 11 car, which is just extricating itself.
I told you not to blow the bloody doors off.
I'm afraid that's already happened. So 2 minis that come together, and we get a chance to see.
Oh, big crash.
It's a shame because they go into the barrier, and they were battling away very closely and very well with each other. So now they drop down the order. They were running at the sharp end, which is a great shame. Paul Poon has now completed 3 laps. The gap between himself and second place Alex Poe is down to less than 1 second up the end of